All right. Part two of Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. My thoughts. All right. So I was last in discussion. I was talking about the bio base. So as we talked about, or as I mentioned, there's three of them in the island Puerto Rico. So another a point of interest if you decide to go to Puerto Rico, and was certainly an important interest of mine. I mentioned the one in Fajardo, Cuebra, and I believe there's one on the east side of the island as well, on the southeast side. Um, so I went to the one in Fajardo. It was a great experience. I got to uh, I met a couple people that was a part of a Viator tour. So we got our instructions on how to ride a canoe, which it looked like it might be a workout at first, but once I got in the canoe, it was pretty easy. It was light work. I wasn't tired at all. So if you're a person you fairly active, you work out 3 to 5 days a week, and you do a full body workout, you should be fine. Riding a canoe is not really hard work, but it's fun though. We rode our canoe. We went to Fajardo, which is in the northeast part of the island, and we rode out for about an hour to a pond like area. And when we would rub our hands into the water, you would see all these blue streaks, and that was like plankton. It was described to as plankton that lit up. So it was pretty cool experience. It was interesting. I never seen anything quite like that before, and I never even went canoeing. I think it was the first time I went canoeing. No, I went canoeing once before when I was much younger, but that was the first time in a long time that I went canoeing. So it was a pretty cool experience. Um, Also, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is known for their boxing. I wanted to make a trip to. Is a famous boxer in the '70s. His name was Wilfred Benitez. Um, he was the guy that held the title until, if I'm not mistaken, the great Sugar Ray Leonard, hailing out of the Washington D.C. area, defeated him in the late '70s to win his first title. Um, but he has a gym in Puerto Rico. I didn't get a chance to check it out. I was really kind of on my jujitsu thing, so I went to the Gracie Jiu Jitsu gym there. Um, it was a pretty cool experience. I met some cool people there. I rode with a couple guys. They had some tough competitors there. They actually told me they have so it was this tournament in jiu-jitsu. It's called the IBJJF. I competed in it several times in DC and then also in New York, and they actually had come to the island. So a couple of the guys told me, if you're in town and there's the tournaments here, come check our gym out and come support us and just see what we're all about. So once things get back up to speed, I'll if the IBJJF is in town there in San Juan, I'll definitely make a trip out there. Um, so let's see, Puerto Rico. We talked about the nightlife. Talked about different parts of the island. There's a town called Loaiza. It's a historically black town. It was where a lot of the black slaves were sent to mine the gold. If I'm not mistaken, the mines. I think the gold mines. If I'm not mistaken, but to do mining in that town. Um, and uh, they were brought there several hundred years ago. It's still to this day predominantly black town, but it has, and obviously there's been some intermixing with the people that was Taino, and then of course the Spanish. When the Spanish were conquering, unlike in North America, a lot of times they mixed in with the people that they held captive. So that's a bit of a twist. That's why when you go through Latin America, you'll see a lot of different admixtures of different phenotypes that you may or may not see so much in America unless you go to the big cities like New York City, Miami, LA, etc. Because there was so much mixing going on with the people, and it's been that way for several hundred years in many Latin American countries and land masses to include Puerto Rico. Um, but I met a couple people there. One of the guys when I was calling an Uber, he was from Loaiza. I was asking him about what's there to do there because I've always heard about Loaiza. It was this show that came on MTV. It was when reggaeton was really heating up in the mainland states in the early 2000s. I was starting, of course, with the Godfather of reggaeton, Daddy Yankee, with his Gasolina song. When that came out in '04, MTV they took a trip down to the PR. They interviewed the King, and El Rey. He was just telling them about what reggaeton was about, how he got into it, his life when he wanted to be aspiration of being a baseball player, but how he got shot, but that the music saved his life, and he thanked God for it, and it took him to new heights, and now he's the man, he's a legend. But I also on that show it talked about the town Loaiza, and it talked about this guy named was Clay, Clay Tele Kalitron. I'm pronouncing his name wrong too, but he's pretty well known in the circuit down there. I know last time I seen him, he had locks, but on that show, he had the afro and the baggy clothes and all that. Cause back then that was a thing, in the early 2000s. But he was talking about Loaiza. He was talking about how it was historically a black town. They didn't really get a lot coming there, but that they made something out of nothing, just like the blacks here in America, despite all the oppression. You know, they made something out of nothing. They built the country of North America, and they're the main influences of everything cultural. So in this country, to include country and everything, rock and roll, and definitely, of course, we know blacks are synonymous with hip hop and R&B and all that good stuff, but and reggae and et cetera, et cetera. But he was talking about the city and how they was downtrodden because it was black city. They didn't get much respect, and how they get kind of clown on just like blacks in America because they have more hue than the dominant people, the people that, well, rather the people that run things. Um, and he was just saying how he wasn't down with that crap, but like through it all, the people always kept it moving and going through the music. They didn't let that hate stop them. They kept it. They kept living their life. And that's always interests me. I always wanted to go there. But anyway, the driver, he was from Loaiza. He told me about Loaiza, but he said it wasn't much there. He said they had some good food. So if you want some really good food, he recommended Loaiza. I asked him was there any hotels. Maybe I could go there, stay for a night or two. He was like, nah, there's no hotels there. So I'm not sure. I know when I was reading about Puerto Rico and them coming back from the hurricane, they was talking about how they was some things that wasn't touristy before they're making them more touristy to generate revenue in that town, Loaiza, and maybe they're building up some lodging. I think when I looked to see if there was any Airbnbs, I don't recall I saw any, but Loaiza is about 30, 45 minutes away from San Juan, so it's not too far away. They have a bridge, if I'm not mistaken, connecting to that part of the country. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. A little bit I read online, it's deeply rooted in African culture. So with Africans from Brazil to Puerto Rico, to Cuba to America, we influence all the hottest styles, so include salsa. That comes from Africa. Everything, come from Africa. So if you're black and watching this, or hell, if you white and see something don't add up, always know that it always originated from the source, and the source is Africa. So after that, I would say, what else did I do in Puerto Rico? I'll tell you about the clubbing I did. Let's see. Uh, that's pretty much all I did in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is an island. It has an interesting history. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Dutch owned it for some time. Of course, the Spanish is the language and the culture, and influence with the religion that's followed. America in the early 1900s, when after the Spanish American War. Um, it has a lot of history. It has ups, it has downs. I think when I first came there, it had a certain vibe, and then after the hurricane, it has a different vibe. But a lot of time people can look at it like, man, these people like, why is it this way, or why is certain thing. But when you get taken advantage of, man, I know from seeing with blacks in America and the research I've done on how blacks have been treated during the Reconstruction period after they said they were supposed to get their rights. Nope, they didn't get their rights. then the Jim Crow laws, then the civil rights law that was put in the first one in the 1800s. Then 100 years later, with Martin Luther King pushing for the second one in the 60s, and still black president. Out of all the presidents, they all been white except for one, a black man. Black men, black people still hated on all that. So I know how when you treat it a certain way, and you're not considered American when you're American, and you fought in the war since the second one, since the second war, Second World War, and you done just as much as everybody else, but you don't get treated American because you know you Spanish or you speak Spanish, and because you're dealing with people that are idiotic and don't know about the history and don't know that Puerto Rico's been a part of America for almost 100 years now, over 100 years, and that can rub people the wrong way. And then you have people coming from some parts of the country in America, and they think they better than you and all that. But just understand, like, when you talk to people and you tell them, like, listen, I know, what I mean, I don't know everything, but I know my history. I know, if I know American history, I know the Puerto Rican history. I know that, you know, some of the things that people been through and what they contribute to society. Thankful and grateful. Thank you for letting me be a guest on your island. Become people like that, and you respectful of people, you'll find that you have an amazing experience. And I definitely recommend the island. I think that it has a lot of history. Oh, LUK, I went there too. Is I think like the only rainforest in America. So another special aspect of the island. All right, so we talked about Puerto Rico. Let's head over to the Dominican Republic. All right, the Dominican Republic. So the Dominican Republic. The first time I went there was in 018 of November. I went to the city of Santo Domingo. So I picked Santo Domingo because when I was reading about the island, it had like four major spots. It had Santo Domingo, Punta Cana, which a lot of Americans know about, Santiago, and Puerto Plata. Now, I wanted to really get I'm about the culture. When I go to a place, I want to be around the people. I want to see what the people doing. I don't want to be in no bougie spot. Like I'm not even bougie myself. So I definitely don't want to hang out with no bougie people. I don't want to be on no resort. I mean, that ain't gonna teach me nothing about the culture. It's nothing I could talk about. It's not an experience that I'll hold on to. Obviously, safety is key, but at the same time, I want to I want to experience what it's all about. Whatever that country is all about. So when I was reading about those 4 points I brought up, Punta Cana, it just seemed like it was like America Part Two. So I mean, I'm not gonna go there. That's probably a place from what I read about it. Punta Cana is really luxurious. It's very beautiful. It's a place you would take your girl. Like if you're for you guys out there, listen to this. If you're a man, that's like the premier place to take your girl. I know the legendary Latin singer Romeo Santos. He has several properties in the Punta Cana area. So that's something that attracts a lot of people there. But of course, the beautiful beaches, the amazing resorts, in a lot of cases, just like with Cancun in Mexico, all the resorts they tend to offer a lot of packages deals. You can find it online, which makes it very affordable. Like package deals where you can get a flight and the stay there and free food and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people are attracted to that. You're right on the waterfront. I've seen the pictures, and when I talk to people, they say it's amazing there, absolutely amazing. Um, there's a YouTuber. His name is I Am Marwa. He did a few years ago when he was touring the island. He toured Punta Cana, and he on his video he showcases a lot of the beachfront and the club area down there. So if you're interested to find out more, check out his channel. I Am Marwa. But for me, I was working a certain amount of time, and I wanted to check out. I wanted to get a feel for what the DR is all about. So I said probably the best place to go would be the capital, Santo Domingo. So I booked my flight, booked my Delta flight to Santo Domingo, and had that legendary layover in Atlanta that everyone that flies Delta knows about if they're coming from the upper East Coast. at least. And once I touched down. I touched down at my lodging, um, got something to eat, and then I went to check out a tour. It was called Trek Tours, and the premier spot for Santo Domingo, Zona Colonial. So Zona Colonial is an area where it was one of the first, one of the stops in Hispaniola that Christopher Columbus stopped at, or rather the Spanish stopped at, and they built their fort there, and it harkens back to the architecture from the colonial times. So a lot of that area you still see the old remnants of the old Spanish buildings from hundreds of years ago, and obviously it's been fixed up, refurbished, etc. But you still see the cobblestone streets, and the buildings are hundreds of years old. Um, and I have some pictures of me riding on one of the bicycles and driving through the cities on my website, melanated.com. But so I met up when I went to Zona Colonial or Colonial Zone. I met up with one of the tour guides there for Trek tours, and it was like this. We rode on this weird bike. It was like it had like three legs, and but it was pretty cool experience. We rode through the streets, and he gave me a tour talking about the history, um, the aforementioned history that I spoke of, and he also talked about the influence of the dance bachata. Bachata, it's a form of Latin dancing that and music that uh, is synonymous with Dominican culture. It's one of the most. It has a lot of course, it has a lot of famous practitioners of the genre, but one of the most well known today in the world is Romeo Santos. So Romeo Santos, he's considered the man for that. If you're not too familiar with Latin culture or like Romeo Santos, but you're familiar with hip hop culture, you know Usher Raymond. Well, Usher Raymond did a song with Romeo Santos in 2011. Got the exact name of it, but it was a banger. It was a pretty big hit around that time. He also did a song, I think it was just a radio release with Drake in around 2011 too. Um, uh, Drake was throwing some shots at him, so he gave him a call, and they decided to collab, and they came out with a hit together around that time. So if you just Google like Romeo Santos and Drake, Romeo Santos and Usher, their song together will pop up, respectively. Um, but he's like the main guy for that, and so he was telling me about the history of that. He was showing me the core area where the cruise ships come in, and then he was showing me where the people were playing the music and dancing. It was really cool. It was a great experience for me. I later actually, I think the next day I went out and did some bachata dancing in one of the clubs in Zona Colonial. Um, let's see. Um, they had this beer. It's called Presidente. Man, Presidente is one of the best beers I've ever had. One of the best Pinsling is beer that I've ever had. It's really really good. You know, ice if you but it gotta be served to you ice cold. The locals will tell me it gotta be ice cold. Ice cold. It's ice cold and wrap in a napkin, and you good to go. And have yourself a Presidente. If you're feeling down, have an ice cold Presidente any time of the day, you will feel much better. It was a great beer. I enjoyed it. But that is like the premier beer, premier beverage for that matter in the DR. Totally. And it's a great one. I didn't have any mofongo there though, so I didn't get to see for myself whether DR made better mofongo or not. So I don't know about that yet. The you know it's still up for debate. at least in my mind. So next time I go back to DR, I'll have some fungo to really make my decision on who makes it better, PR or DR. Um, let's see. Uh, I went to Santiago, so I've also been to Santiago, and it's the second largest city in the Dominican Republic. It has a lot of a number of attractions. The biggest one is it's like the statue of heroes. Um, but it's a big statue in the center of the city of Santiago. It's the famous landmark there. So you can Google it, find that. I took some pictures of it, and I actually did a couple of videos of it on my YouTube channel. So it's a pretty amazing sight. I enjoy getting to go there and see it. It's also a good place where one could get a good workout in on a sunny day when it's not raining. They have a flight of stairs you can go up and down. It reminds me the layout of the statue reminds me of the Rocky Steps in Philadelphia. Um, but yeah, and it's a really cool area where it's set up. And so when you get to the top, where the door entrance for the statue is, you can see most of the city, if not all the city, from there. It's a beautiful view. It's a great place to take pictures, take a date, walk around. Uh, it really, it's really romantic if you're into that kind of thing. For me, from a historical purpose, it's just good for me to say I've been there and take some pictures and do some videos and soak in that part of Dominican history. So, let's see what else. The people. So the people in DR, they're pretty cool. When I was partying there in Zona Colonial, people were real chill. The way they get down, the way they party, remind me of like it's like black folks here in the states. More like really most of the Caribbean. They remind me of more like laid back Southern folks kind of. So because you got the style and with the clothing, the music, it's similar to at least the hip hop culture. Just narrow down to blacks because I mean blacks are not the only one to get down like that, but in the states, but so rather better worded, the way they party is similar to the hip hop culture. Um, so, but kind of more like it had more like a southern feel to it. So like if like if you're partying, let's say it was a southern city, this might relate to that I would know about, like uh, maybe like New Orleans, but like you in Charlotte, North Carolina, um, Atlanta, etc. But really cool people. I like the music they play. The biggest one of the more popular music is reggaeton. So for the ladies and just for the culture, bachata. But reggaeton is like is that's the thing. Like so in the clubs, that's all they playing. And so reggaeton basically is like Spanish rap to me. I mean, you know, from what I do understand about it is talking about the same thing basically. Um, and you know, they really get down with the dancing and all that. They be getting down for real for real. They love the party. They party. So Puerto Rico was like that too. I was getting out of the car like damn like 2:30 3 o'clock. All right, I'm good. But nope, people still party. It'd be like 5 o'clock. It's like it was similar to New York actually. So if you ever party in New York in the Manhattan area, you be out 3 4 a.m. in the morning. 6 a.m. Well, 3 4 a.m. in the morning, and like people are still out, still the city's still flooded, so it's like that down there. Um, as far as at least when it was when I was in Puerto Rico, and they was still going strong in DR. And of course, Sunday everything started closing down around 1 o'clock, whatever, 1 a.m. But they really know how to party. So if you want to like if you're looking for somewhere like to go party and like have fun, meet beautiful people, beautiful women, especially for us fellas, and for the women, beautiful guys I suppose. Um, you know, the art spot. For the women, I would say when I went here, when I talked to some, um, going to the North Coast, Puerto Plata, that's where a lot of women go, or Punta Cana. Um, but I mean, and for guys, it'd be pretty much everywhere there on the island. But like, if it's not just about girls, like you want to like party and enjoy yourself and like soak in culture, et cetera, et cetera. See different tourist attractions and really be with the people. I would say Santo Domingo. That's like the best spot. I mean, it's because it's everything there. Santiago was a little bit more slow pace. It wasn't really too much going on there. That's something that's more like a family town. I haven't gone to the North Coast yet, but I heard the North Coast is beautiful. Um, One of my tour guides when I was in Santo Domingo, uh, she was telling me about like this some like waterfall spot, some waterfall spot that was in North Coast. So I gotta check that out. Los Ayos, I think there's a place called Los Ayos. It looked like the cenotes in Mexico. I gotta check that out as well. I think that's on the southern part of the island. But the country has a lot to offer. It has a whole lot to offer. Most of my adventures in the island centered around the nightlife and just going up and going between Santo Domingo and Santiago. But another thing, it's pretty easy to get around the island. Going like Santo Domingo, the biggest city, Santiago, the second biggest city, and to get between those two cities is about roughly 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The food in DR is really really good too as well to me. They have your standard fare, your standard Caribbean fare, plantains, rice and beans. They had let's see what else I told you about the President Day, amazing. Um, they what else? They had what did I eat? What did I eat? I ate something. Oh, so I'm vegan, so I go to a lot of vegan restaurants. And they had some really good vegan restaurants there, and they had a little bit of everything. It was all really good. But I know for like people that are into carne and pescado, y pollo, they have all that. They have dishes for all that as well. So um, they have a little bit of everything. I would say their food, if, you know, for clarity on what they offer, similar to Puerto Rico. With the dishes like mofongo and the different stews and meat dishes that they had, very similar. So it's all what I ate was very good. The beaches were amazing. I went to this place called Pelican Beach, right next to Boca Chica. It was a private spot. It was really beautiful. Took a couple pictures there. It was really nice. There was a reggaeton artist that was performing on the beachfront. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool experience seeing that. Let's see what else. Uh, I would say when I look at the two islands, all depends what you're looking for. From I've been to Puerto Rico more times than I've been to DR, but I think both islands have some amazing things to offer. Um, I would say the people are beautiful. You know, Friendly culture, um, and it's a great time. I really don't say when I look at the two islands, I would say that when I think about the culture and everything, I kind of like DR a little better in some ways because a little less. It's Americanized, but it's not Americanized. I think Puerto Rico is kind of Americanized. I think Puerto Rico has a little bit more amenities. Some people would say in some cases a little bit more safer, a little bit more developed because they had the American money coming to it. Um, but I would say both countries have a great deal to offer. They're very beautiful. I definitely recommend checking them out when you have a chance. And I think that they are spots that you will really enjoy yourself. I would say if you're a single man traveling, I would say for Puerto Rico, you gotta check out San Juan. San Juan is all you need. San Juan is around the area for Puerto Rico. If you are a single man going to DR, I would say you want to. Some men like to go to the North Coast, Puerto Plata area. Um, and I've been here about that since the military, and then just different friends I met on my travel days that are still ongoing. If you're into like nightlife and culture and beautiful people, women, etc., then I would say go to Santo Domingo. I think it has a little bit more to offer, a little bit more interesting, and it would be a great experience. Just make sure you're mindful where you go. The traffic can be a little crazy, can be killer during the rush hour traffic, as in any big city. It's akin to the traffic in New York, but you can get through it, and the clubs there are pretty amazing. If you're looking for something more laid back, maybe you want to go smoke a cigar and check out the local towns and history. Santiago, take a ride up to Santiago. If you're looking more, if you're coming with a significant other or family, I would say Punta Cana for the DR. Um, for family with Puerto Rico, I mean, really San Juan is fine from what I see. I see a lot of family, particularly in Old San Juan area. Very safe. Um, Everything's pretty close by. Everything's in walking distance, so um, you're good to go there. Uh, let's see. Yeah, man, that's about it. Oh, another thing, I didn't some places that I want to check out and that um, are of note for Puerto Rico. There's a city called Recon. It's known for its surfing. So if you're into water sports and surfing and so forth, checking out Puerto Rico and checking out Recon would be the place to go. It's about 3 hours west of San Juan. Um, let's see, that's about it. Oh, another thing, if you don't know, now you know. DR, of course, DR is connected on the island named Hispaniola with Haiti, the first black republic. It was the first black country, Haiti was, to throw out its slave masters and become its own independent country. Of course, they caught hell for that. They had some bogus taxes thrown on them because of that. But that is a country that has been through a lot. Um, there's a lot of Haitians that come over to DR and for a better life, to work, etc. And then some, there's been some issues in the past about Haitian with Haitians, Dominicans. Some people say it's because they black, and then they get hated on. And some people say, well, our country already dealing with what it's dealing with financially, and then you have the other people coming over, taking jobs or taking resources. Um, I think that can sometimes give DR a bad opinion, a bad view. Now, as a gringo, I get treated a little bit differently than someone who's Haitian, presumably. But so I don't really get to maybe see everything about the Haitians other than what I read and what I've talked to people. But I think that the Dominicans, when I did observe them, I didn't really get too much shade because I was dark. Matter of fact, no one really cared, especially since they was only maybe two shades lighter than me. Probably more so I was American was more noted. But one thing for sure, I certainly didn't have my race thrown in my face as much as I do in other countries, in other Western countries, to include the one that I fought for. So I would say that you may hear people say things about the DR as far as that's concerned. In my experience, I really didn't deal with a lot of nonsense with that, and that could have been because of being gringo or not. But I think that the people were really friendly. Some of the experience I had, some of the people I met, uh, the times I've been there, they've been really friendly with me. Introduced me to uh, close people, and really welcoming. As a is an amazing culture. They know how to to treat their guests, and I say give it a chance and check it out. Um, don't let the news and what the media says dictate your viewpoint. Take a look for yourself. Don't assume because you wouldn't want to be assumed about. So check it out, see what it's all about, and give it a chance. Both both islands are beautiful, and I would recommend both of them. Till next time, have a good day.